All right, hello and welcome to this Long Island weather alert. We've got heavy rain tonight. Could be some flooding, and that rain's it's gonna be a miserable day tomorrow too. She looks like it's a pretty heavy shower just south of Long Beach. There could even be some embedded thunderstorms in here, but there's gonna be a lot of heavy rain overnight. The rain we had like light sprinkles throughout much of the day, and then as the evening came in, we got some of the steadier light, occasionally moderate rain, and now we're dealing with a lot of heavy rain across the area. And look at all that heavy rain that's going on over there. So this storm looks pretty impressive. This is what it is presentation on the radar. Let's take a look at the satellite. You can see really impressive looking storm there. Um, that's an impressive moisture feed right there. I'll just run that again. Not move it this time. But you can see it's a very, very impressive moisture feed right here. So let's go and look at the lightning. See if there's any lightning here. No, there is thunderstorms over here. They're mostly off to the south, but there's can't rule it out. I can't rule out that there could be a thunderstorm involved in this. This is a very strong low pressure area here. This is the close up. We'll go to the CONUS view. You can see here this is a big storm. You can see that tropical feed all the way from the Gulf of Mexico, so that's plenty of moisture right there. Looking at another radar loop here, and you can see heavier rain, mainly over Jersey, it looks like. Right over there. Actually, I'll show you the. Let's go to the high resolution one. I'll show you this, and you can see there's some heavier rain in here. So you got these waves of rain coming through. All right. So this is all courtesy of this low pressure area here. Actually, got two. You got one over the Great Lakes and then another coastal that's sort of developed here. As your surface analysis here. A little bit of a pressure gradient, so the winds are going to pick up a little bit. So it's going to be kind of a wind-driven rain overnight as well. And we are dealing with, we'll go to this map here in a moment. We have a coastal flood statement in effect. We also have a gale warning in effect for the offshore waters. And some pretty strong winds, 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts at the buoy. Northeast 34 gusting to 45. That's pretty strong. Wave height 7.2 feet. So, yeah, we're going to see some coastal effects for sure. And these winds kind of picking up along the coast here. And kind of makes me wonder if we might need a wind advisory for this event. Probably just under it, but by the coast, it's definitely going to be pretty windy. Inland, yeah, the gusts aren't too remarkable, 24, but along the coast, they are pretty strong indeed. Here we go. Long Island Sound. Long Island, not Long Island Sound, but the buoy south, 30 nautical miles south of Islip, is reporting northeast wind at 31, gusting to 45, and a wave height of 7.9 feet. Let's see if it gives us a water temperature. It does not give us a water temperature. I don't see that here. But you can see here that definitely got some strong winds offshore mainly. So it's mainly in the marine, more of a marine hazard for this. So let's take a look at the storm on the models here. We have the 18Z GFS, which is old and really don't want to look at it. So we'll go and look at the HRRR, the wider view first to show you the storm here. And you can see that rain's going to be lashing us all night. And it's going to start pulling down some colder air. And just to our north, some snowflakes might mix in. And then tomorrow, the worst of the rain is over, but that low center offshore, it's going to be a sucky, wind-driven drizzle most of the day probably. So it's going to be pretty miserable. And then the storm on Sunday kind of loops back because there's some more rain in the morning, and then finally starts slowly pulling away. This is a cutoff low that we're dealing with. If we look at the upper air here, actually we don't get upper air on the HRRR. But we can kind of look at it on we'll go to the European here. So this is a cutoff low that we're dealing with. So here's your low. You can see how it's kind of cut off. So that's why it's taking its sweet time. That's going to be moving through our area and just prolonging the misery right through tomorrow and even part of Sunday. And then hopefully later Sunday we dry out. And then that kind of pulls away. This is the 18Z run of the Euro. And the next week looks a lot better. We have a more progressive pattern with cold fronts moving through, high pressure building in. It looks like we may have to worry about wind again toward next week on next Wednesday. So that would possibly be our next weather alert, possibly Tuesday into Wednesday for some wind But let's go and look at the Let's take a closer look at the HRRR model, and we'll show you what we are going to be dealing with here with this system. So, and again, you can see that rain's going to continue, and then the heaviest, steadiest stuff should end by morning. But there's going to be some chance of light showers, and then just sucky drizzle with that low hanging out offshore right there. And then you can see it kind of redevelops and sprays some more rain over us, particularly the east end Sunday morning. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of rain. So we're going to take a look at the total accumulated precip on this. Yeah, at least an inch. I think 1 to 2 inches is a good bet for most areas. Some areas could get a little over 2 inches. And just for fun, if you're inland and up on the mountains, this is probably overdone, but you could get some accumulating snow in some of the higher terrain to the north and the west. So, yeah, and in fact, I think there was a winter weather advisory in effect for those areas. Yeah, here we go. That's well to the north and west, though. That does not affect us. But don't be surprised if maybe a stray snowflake could mix in on the North Shore, perhaps in the early morning hours. So there, and we'll go ahead and we'll look at the dynamics of the system with the dew points and wind flow as well. So you'll see the easterly winds there that we're going to be dealing with. That easterly wind it goes a little more northerly, which you'd think maybe would cut off the drizzle, but I don't know if that's what's going to happen tomorrow night. And then it finally turns a little more northwesterly and westerly later on Sunday. So that should hopefully bring in, again, put an end to this. The moisture with this system, the warm air, is well offshore. But that warm tropical air is being lifted over the colder air at the surface, thus producing the rain. And you can see tomorrow is going to be cold as well. We're going to struggle to get to the 40s, I think. It's going to be cold and nasty and raw tomorrow. And then Sunday, we'll see some moderation temperatures at closer to 50. But other than that, it's going to be still rather on the cool side, and absolutely no sunshine as well. That's what the HRRR shows. I will go to the NAM next. We have most of the zero-zing NAM in as well, so we'll have two models to work with. That's why I'm a little later tonight, so we can have these two models. So here we go. There's that rain again. You can see there it kind of shows up the drizzle that's going to kind of lingering around tomorrow. That we're going to be dealing with sucky drizzle all day, and then Sunday, the NAM seems to have this thing kind of redevelop a little further to the east, so the rainfall amounts might be lower, but like we'd see more like an inch to maybe an inch and a half, but still a decent amount of rain overall with this, and that should really put us out of this whole drought situation. We'll take a look at this drought monitor here and see that, again, most of Long Island not involved in it, but we still have that abnormally dry category for Nassau County and part of the South Fork, I guess. But you'll notice that much of New Jersey now, just in the abnormally dry area, except for the extreme north and south. So, and after the rain tonight, I think they'll be probably getting rid of that. So, so that's pretty much what we're going to deal with in our weather alert. And then as far as just taking a little peek at next week here, show you what's going to happen next week here on the European. So you see we're going to have a little bit of warm air coming in later Monday. That would be our next actually chance for rain, actually, possibly with this cold front that comes through. So that we may have to actually maybe another weather alert Monday night for some precipitation. And then Tuesday, the front comes through. We start with clouds, and then you get to some of those windy conditions there, lower dew points, drier air in the mix, and colder weather, too, behind that. So we're just looking at the European here and showing you, again, that it still keeps it cool for Sunday. It warms it up a little more, and then we warm up a little more on Monday. You can see kind of probably keeps more clouds over Long Island, but warmer inland with less of a rain flow. And then obviously Tuesday we're going to have clouds, that frontal passage, and then we have Wednesday here, and we kind of see something kind of cool. So Tuesday is probably going to be our warmest day, perhaps Tuesday. Monday, if you're inland, Monday. But plenty of clouds around, obviously. I'll look at the RGM to show you that, and just to show you all the clouds that we're going to be dealing with. So I know I missed it. Hope you enjoyed that sunshine on Wednesday, because that was the only really sunny day we had. You see all the clouds. Though, interestingly enough, RGM seems to take the clouds and kind of take the thicker cloud cover, keep it over Long Island, but have thinner cloud cover over New Jersey. And then for Monday, it has some higher level clouds passing through, and then a little less of them as you get toward the afternoon. So, let's go and talk about the wind. That's the next concern we have with this system. So wind gusts, we'll take a look at that. The stronger winds, well, 30, but offshore, yeah, you need that. Yeah, it's mostly focused offshore, the stronger winds, but we'll go ahead and we'll look at this anyway. But it gets up there in the early morning hours. East End, Upton should really have a wind advisory, at least for Suffolk County. I think at least the eastern part of Suffolk in the morning, because it seems like there could be it's a little more out there, and there can be a little more of a pressure gradient. But you can see that wind is going to be with us all day long, and it's going to be a cold, biting wind with drizzle. So it probably won't be very nice. Actually, as the shows up the circulation very well here. And if we hit precipitation, you can see it's got some really light. That could be drizzle right there showing up. If we go to the visibility, it's probably not going to show up. Let's see if it shows up any drizzle. It doesn't show up on the visibility, but there could very well be drizzle. It will not surprise me. There is drizzle again. Seems to be the theme. We've had so much drizzle lately. I'm sick of it. That's why I call it sucky drizzle, because I hate it. And it's going to be raw and cold. Temperatures only really struggling to get out. It's going to be absolutely miserable to be outside if that drizzle is coming down. So it's going to be a good day to stay inside, even though we probably won't pick up all that much more rain after tomorrow morning. The drizzle is just going to make it so miserable out there. And then Sunday, once we get to Sunday, it improves, and we don't see those winds as strong anymore. But take a look at what's going on the Cape here. The storm's going to bomb out. If they don't have a wind advisory for the Cape, I know that is not our jurisdiction. That would be Boston. But I bet they'll issue a wind advisory. But anyway, we'll go to windy.com, which is the other model as well. And you can see it's showing the winds really nicely here. We'll go to wind gusts. And you can see what's going on offshore. And it's mostly a coastal issue, these strong wind gusts. But as we make it into the morning, you can see it kind of gets worse. As we get toward the morning, we have stronger wind gusts. And like I said, that east end, I think that east end could see wind gusts of 50, gusts of 50. And honestly, once you get that high, you really need a wind advisory. But they just don't want to issue them. And you can see there's that pressure gradient where all that wind is. So going to be dealing with that wind-driven drizzle all day. And it definitely shows up on this model. So if I go and look at the... let's go look at the visibility. Yeah. There's plenty of it here. So tomorrow it's going to be pretty miserable. Be prepared to be stuck inside. Maybe we'll have a miracle and we won't have the drizzle, but if we have the drizzle, you definitely don't want to be outside. Between the cold, the drizzle, and the wind, it's going to be absolutely awful to be outside. And hopefully by Sunday we can get that out of here. It looks like it does. I'm trying to move it out of here by Sunday. So tomorrow, be prepared to stay inside, even though most of the heavier rain is tonight. So that wraps up this weather alert. Thank you for watching.